Bye, Seamus, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, we'll begin with Chris Bass next.
Brett, I guess just what you see there, after halftime. I know you said on your halftime interview the first 5 minutes would be so important, and Penn State started with that round. What'd you see from them, and what'd you see from your guys there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the thing we hit on, was extending that lead in the first 5, how important that would be as far as the outcome of the game, and they came out and punched us in the mouth and scored 10 straight and got all the momentum. He cut 14-point lead down to 4. He called timeout before the first media, and then, you're in a fight the rest of the way. But, it was it's too bad, because I thought that first half was about as well as we played on both ends and held them to 23 points. That's a team that's playing very good basketball right now. We talked to our team about it's the exact same scenario they were in the last game, where they were down 15 in the second half to Maryland, and they just keep fighting and keep coming at you. And, unfortunately, they got the loose balls in the second half that we got in the first half. And, they out-rebound us 23-11 in the second half. Our guys, they battled all the way to the end, but, it's just so unfortunate that those first 3 minutes, everything went their way, and they cut that thing down to 4. So, again, what I talked to the guys about in the locker room was just, the character they showed all year, the fight they showed all year, how they battled through more adversity than any other team in the country with everything that we went through. And, they kept coming in and, wanting to get better and, battling all the way to the end. And, it's a team that I thoroughly enjoyed coaching. Normally you wouldn't say that when you have a record like we had, but it was a team every day they came in, they were ready to work. And I appreciate that. And, I talked to them about, obviously we're going to have to be a more consistent basketball team next year, in order to win these types of games. We're showing a lot of great flashes. We're a much better team now than we were last year. We're a better team than we were at the beginning of the season. We have things we can build on. We've got a great recruiting class that I know we've talked a lot about coming in. So, even though it ended in a disappointing night, I love our future. I think it's very bright, and can't wait to get back to work.
Sam McEwen.
Hey, Fred. What do you feel like this team is missing or needs to get better at? And that can include just time. But what do you feel like it's missing in terms of the things that you feel like need to be brought, into the future so that you guys can start to win games against Northwestern and Penn State instead of dropping them later?
Well, as I said, Sam, I think the biggest thing is consistency. And, I think we'll get that. I think we had 40 less practices this year than we had last year. And that matters when you have a almost completely new team. We're going to have continuity next year with a good core coming back and with some great additions. And that's going to be important going into the season. Hopefully we'll have some normalcy this summer to be able to work on a lot of things, which we were not able to do last year because of the pandemic. And obviously in the middle of the season you get shut down for as long as we did. You're going to have some lapses like we did when you're not able to practice. So a big part of being more consistent is getting on the practice floor and working on things that you need to improve on. And I have no doubt that this team's going to come back and get to work and correct a lot of those things. Turnovers obviously were a huge issue for us all year. We have to take much better care of the basketball. We need to rebound better. Those things are important. Defensively, like I said, you look at what we did in that first half against this team tonight. You look what we did the entire Rutgers game. It shows you what we're capable of doing, but it's got to be a 40-minute effort. But we'll get there, and I'm absolutely confident in that.
I don't know if next time we'll be able to talk to you, but what's the plan going forward as far as handling your team? Are you going to meet with the players soon? And I guess just what's next for you guys as you head in the off season? Yeah,
as you do at the end of every year, it starts with individual meetings with your players, and we'll give them some time. They need to decompress now. As many games as we played in a short amount of time. We're going to give them a couple weeks to get their bodies back. Now, knowing the makeup of our guys, they're going to want to be in that gym shooting tomorrow, but they have to take some time to get their bodies back in order. And then, the first few weeks, it's not going to be a lot of pounding, running up and down. We got to get their bodies back. We haven't had a lot of time in the weight room with all these games we're playing right now, or that we played in a short amount of time. So it's about getting their bodies back to the point where we can put them through, workouts and have a good workload going into, the summer months or 6 weeks that they'll get off before they come back in June and start getting ready for the season, which will be a lot of individual work. And then when we get them back in the fall, that's when we'll really start hammering on the team stuff. So, it's, again, just making sure they get their bodies back in order because these guys have been through a grind here these last couple of months.
Thank you, Padilla.
What are some of those things you mentioned that you can really build off of that you saw down the stretch of the season and some of your better performances, particularly from kind of the core guys that are going to be really important for you moving forward? Yeah,
I mean, Trey was so much better under control, these last couple weeks. He struggled a little bit out of the break or out of the shutdown, kind of went back to some early issues that he had taking care of the ball after really finishing before the shutdown on a high note and had played a couple of his better games. But I think he's really made good plays and stepped up his game and taken better care of the basketball. But we need to play more under control. Our offense really picked up these last 3 weeks of the season. You look at our assist numbers; it's where we need them. It's where we need them to be. And when you have that type of movement, you look at our first half tonight, second half against Northwestern, the entire game against Rutgers, the Minnesota game. I thought we were really good moving. So, we're starting to figure it out. And again, we're not going to have a whole new team next year where you got to introduce a system and pretty much start from scratch, which is what we've done the first 2 years. We have a foundation in place, and that's huge moving forward. Again, hopefully we'll have a normal year where we'll be able to have practices and string them together and work and correct a lot of these things, that we pretty much had to learn through playing games this year because of the lack of practice time and the lack of a off season where everything by rule had to be pretty much in individual work or with your roommate. They weren't allowing us to do all those things where you build habits early before you get started. You take away the exhibition, you take away the scrimmage. Those are important games. You learn a lot from those. So hopefully we'll have a normal year. With the continuity we have coming back, I'm confident that we'll get off to a good start. And the fans, I mean, that's an important part of this as well. In your non-conference portion of your season is having fans in your building, helping you, will you to some of those wins as well.
And second half there, when Trey got in foul trouble, Delano kind of put his head down, got to the rim a couple of times. Obviously, he's kind of had a tough time coming back from the break, kind of getting that mojo going again. What did you see there, and what can that do to kind of like spark going in this offseason, him having a little bit of success there, doing what he used to do?
Yeah, obviously that hurt us when Trey picked up his third right away, and then we put him back in, and he got his fourth, in about a minute. So that hurt us because I thought Trey was as good as anybody in that first half. But then Delano picked up for him, and we ran some kind of misdirection, pick and roll plays to get him downhill, and he finished well, and he got our guys shot. I mean, that's the other thing. We missed a lot of good open shots in the second half that we made in the first half. We missed a couple easy ones at the rim as well, and that happens. But that first half we were making all those shots that we were missing in the second half. But I thought Delano did a good job of getting our guys great looks.
Sam McEwen?
Hey, just wanted to ask if Shamil Stevenson was available tonight. And then you mentioned that core. You mentioned Trey, obviously. Who else is in that core group of players that you're going to say almost right away, hey, if your guys' team next year, you guys got to lead it in the offseason? So who's that core, and also about Shamil?
Yeah, Shamil was available. Trevor, I thought, gave us a good boost in the last game, and we went with him as the first guy in the rotation. I thought a couple times about putting Shamil in. But Trevor, again, hit a couple shots for us, and, I thought gave us good energy and out there on the floor. As far as the core, again, Eduardo, I thought, finished the season very well. He struggled a little bit tonight in his, his first Big Ten experience. Derek, I thought, finished out the year, very well. Ladd, obviously, is a guy that'll be very important for us moving forward. We'll see what happens with the seniors. Obviously, we'll have talks with those guys, everybody. Sam, I'm not going to sit here and say exactly, individuals who's going to be back. We'll sit down and talk with each and every guy and, figure out exactly, how we move forward and what's best for everybody.
Chris Bassett?
Fred, what's kind of, just next for you personally? Are you going to take a day or two to kind of decompress too, along with your players, or what do you kind of do now that the season's over?
Yes, I am. I'm tired, man. This has been a grind for everybody, and it's today that with this late game, going into the last couple days, I mean, it's just been a really tough grind. I mean, it's an NBA type schedule, but these guys have a lot more responsibilities and don't have a lot of the luxuries that those NBA players have. And this most specifically the academics. Our guys need to get caught up there. They got some work to do because all the travel and all the games that we've been playing. So I mean, obviously we're still going to get in there. We're still going to work, but it's going to everybody's going to have to take a couple days to recharge their batteries and really regain their sanity.
Okay, that'll end our session with Coach Hoiberg. We'll come back with Trey McGowan here shortly.
Thanks, guys.